All right. It's that time. It's time for Beyond Sight and Sound. Let's do this.
Hey boys and girls, we are going to talk about S&W shooters and prospectors. What is S&W shooters and prospectors?
We at S&W Shooters and Prospectors help people find treasure.
Did you say treasure?
Yes, treasure. Just listen to this amazing review from our happy customer, Jackie Sparrow.
Chocolate ship-shape and a pleasure to deal with. I was able to buy everything that I needed at prices that were shillings less than others. I found my 9 pieces of 8 in no time. Savvy?
I know you're asking yourself, why should I shop at S&W Shooter and Prospectors?
Chuck Smalley has over 45 years of metal detecting experience. He works with each customer one-on-one to customize their setup to match their skill level.
So if you always dreamt of being a pirate, contact Chuck at S&W Shooters and Prospectors and he'll take a great deal for you.
iPads and rum not included.
Caution. Please do not operate motor vehicles or power equipment while under the influence of this show. Listening to this show could cause side effects such as bouts of laughter, violent binges of cabin fever, and even dreams of silver and gold. Please be advised. Now that the fine print is out of the way, on with the show.
All right, we're back, we're live. And somehow or another I've managed to do something to my screen that I don't have a clue what happened. So, while I work on that, see what we can do here. There, that looks much better. Everybody else is going, I don't notice a difference, but believe me, on my end it looks much better. It works for me. That's the important part. Okay, so now that I've fixed whatever happened there, about 20 minutes before we went live, silver was setting at $32.70 an ounce, while gold was setting at $3,392.80 an ounce. Not bad. Not bad. So once again, Dennis has kept us up to date on the spot. So you get that right at the beginning of the show. Let's get Chuck in here.
Hey, everybody. How's it going tonight? I
All
hope
right.
we got a full house. All the bills. Yeah. Tom, Mark.
Yeah.
Dennis in the house. I just talked with him.
Yeah.
Hey, Tom. How's it going, buddy? Rich.
Richard's in too, huh?
Trying to get a hold of AKAU, and they haven't returned my call. They're in the shipping.
Oh.
they're in the shipping, getting stuff off and running and getting it north.
Yeah, I had a talk last night, a little bit of a conversation last night with Ohio Relic Hunter. Augie was on one of the shows.
Yep.
And I guess Bill had said something about AKA you, and I'm like, what, Augie was on? And he's like, yeah, that was the name. I said, oh, well, I still say, like I said the other night, I sure wish I could have saw the look on his face when that big horse choker of a nugget hit the table.
Yep. So cool.
Because looks like that are priceless.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. Either way, though, go ahead.
Oh, the language was unrepeatable.
Yeah, explicitive.
Yep. So that was cool. And I want to see that again. I want somebody in our group doing the same thing. Maybe even me.
Yeah.
Who knows? You know,
Who knows?
that's good stuff.
Could be Dennis, could be Alan, could be Richard.
Yep.
Well, if we can get him hooked up anyway.
I'm working on it. So I'll call her back again tomorrow.
Could be Frankie.
Yeah. Well, Frankie gets big fish. Fish are running.
Yeah.
Frankie's gone. So
well, and you know, if Frankie found a nugget like that, there's going to be a monument there next year.
Yeah, that'll be a 10-foot tall, man. That thing's so yeah, a lot going on lately, and good news for Jill. And she went and we had her PET scan done and meetings with doctors, and she's 100% full remission. They moved her off a PET scan just to see to the CT style scan now, and only once every 6 months, and she's feeling pretty good, and that's a big plus. So she's
nice
doing all that.
Very good. It's about time.
Yeah. ORH, yeah, I've been in contact with Augie since last year. We've talked about where he's going to set that up. He opened up a couple spots, and one of the spots he dug down, and they were testing some of the tailings that were in there, running it through the plant. And down at the bottom, they found a sluice box still in pretty much full contact. I mean, it's there. And it was one of the original sluice boxes. These things were long things. And they had like a cast iron grate in the bottom, then wooden slats. And the wooden slats were there. There was a pick, there was a shovel, there were pikes. All this still laying there. They just dumped over the top of it, and it was pretty cool.
Just like the crew walked away.
Yeah. So it and it could have been in around they shut it all down up there during World War I. Done. You're not gold mining. That's not war effort.
Right.
You have to work for the war effort. And then it started picking a little bit back up between 1 and 2. Then, of course, World War II, it all got shut down again. And but the era of the equipment that was there, you could tell by the style, and the handles were still intact, but they're very fragile. And it was neat to see. It was like seeing a chunk of history show up. Every time we detect, we hope for a little piece of history, don't we? That was pretty cool.
That's a big piece of history.
Yep. So
they're going to have trouble fitting that in their pouch.
Yeah. Well, they had to be some pretty healthy guys to pull those grates up. God, they were just...
Oh, yeah. Backbreaking work.
They had oval and then slats, and it, went through, and they were trying to make it better and better as they went along. But that was some of the original type stuff, and they were long. They weren't 4 feet, 6 feet. They were 60, 100 yards long.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, yep, Dennis saw it too. Still sections of pipe laying about. Pretty cool stuff. So it was neat to go down there and mess around. We panned a little bit. There's fines in it, and we detected around it and that kind of stuff. But that particular area is they got a rich spot in it that they're setting that aside to run commercially. And then the rest is for us to go dig while they're digging. In other words, check it out, see what we can come up with. Be fun.
Right. Well, we've got the stream over in the Illinois Iowa Treasure Hunters group tonight. Figured probably not a bad thing since tonight's show has to do with the Illinois Iowa Treasure Hunters.
I had a late minute epiphany, and we tagged Dennis, and he said he'd love to get on and talk about what they did yesterday. And I'll let him explain it all. He was there. He worked with them. I couldn't be. I was running with Jill, getting the good news that we got and getting some things done. And but yesterday, that's a good thing that the club does every year when they can do it. During COVID, it got shut down. But
well, a lot of things like that did for different groups.
But it's back and running again. And Dennis gets on there. He can explain to you what it was, who it was with, and the number of people and what they were doing, and it helps them, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. And we were lucky enough that he was available to come on and talk with everybody tonight about that. So let's get him in here as well. I forgot to ask him before the show. For all I know, he's all wired up on some of them caramels.
No, he probably is.
All right, we'll get him in here.
Barb,
no caramels yet. I'm cutting.
Oh,
no papers.
Oh,
no caramels yet.
They will be at DTH.
There you go.
That'll keep me going all day on a sugar high.
There you go.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, as soon as she gets back from vacation this weekend, we're going to make a couple big double batches, so we'll bring plenty.
Oh,
ORH says you got a belly full of Wendy's tonight. I didn't start it.
No, I had ribs.
I doubt it.
Tonight.
Ribs, okay, that sounds good.
Yeah,
were they done on the smoker?
No, they were from a restaurant. A buddy of mine has a small restaurant, and I had to go over and pick up some raffle tickets from them, so I got some ribs and chicken. So
cool.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
Anyway, I don't know how long they've been doing this, but it's been a while. And Bob Chilla has always set it up with the schools, and you want to take it from there and tell us what they do and who you work with.
Okay. Yeah, it's special needs classes, and it's a high school, West High School in Davenport. Mm-hmm. There's probably total about 30 kids that they bring them out in two groups. Now, some of the kids, they range, and they're freshmen through senior. They're not just one class. They're all put together in classes.
Right. So these are all older kids then.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, freshman through senior. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they range in their disability from very slight to fairly severe. So some of the kids this year, one of the kids was in a wheelchair, and he is severe.
Mm-hmm.
Is communicating with sounds, basically. That's about it, and pretty much incapacitated. I mean, he's still mobile, but not much. But they're I always try to think of them, and we've worked around kids like this my whole life, and Marcia has too, my wife, and behind the veil of their disability, there is still someone there.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So you have to treat them as they're there, even though they don't look like it, they are. And they enjoyed this so much. It's the best day of the year for me. when we can do stuff like this for kids, you know.
Oh yeah, very rewarding.
Yeah, so they brought them out in two groups, and they split them up, and we all there's a bunch of us from the club. There's a bunch of people from the Optimist Club, and some of the teachers and workers come out and watch too, and keep an eye on the kids for it. Help keep an eye on them, because some of them kind of wander off on you every once in a while. So you got to kind of watch, and it was a lot of fun. But we had plenty of help this year. We had extra detectors for once, so it was kind of nice. We didn't have enough pinpointers, but that's another story. So, but yeah, it was so much fun. I mean, you do the first group, but we put 400 $half out for them. So there's plenty of big targets. You can't miss them.
Right.
Just knife them in under the grass so that everybody goes, well, why don't you just throw them out there? Well, it's more of an experience for the kids because it becomes tactile. Then they're digging for it. They get into it.
You don't want to make it too easy.
No.
Right. And they get into digging. They're going after it with they're pawing after it once they break the ground with a digger. They're going for it. So it's fun to watch. I had a couple boys that were high functioning. You wouldn't know that they had a problem unless you were told they did. So I could let them go for a while and just bounce between them and give a hand wherever else. The last student that I had was very severe. He was able to walk and swing the detector, but his communication skills were very, very limited. And he still had a good time,
Right.
mean, and when they were taking him back in, he turned around and said, thank you. And that was,
Oh, see, now that ought to make your day right there.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Before that, it was, do you want to keep going? Yes. That was it. That was all the communication you got out of them was yes, and, it's fulfilling to do with the kids. If you ever get a chance to do stuff like this, jump at it, go for it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. It's fun for us. It's fun for them.
Yep.
So yeah, and they were digging up. They weren't just digging up the targets that we buried. They were finding dimes and nickels and quarters that have been there for years. Like we would. So it was
Right.
really neat to watch. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Well, I have done it a few years back before COVID with them. And then we also used to go up to Arrowhead Ranch and work with the kids at Arrowhead Ranch. And it's very gratifying.
It is. It is. That I can't think of anything that I've done in my life really that is more satisfying to do than working with the kids.
Right.
Whether they're handicapped or not.
Yeah.
Right.
Because at the Illinois Valley group, we do one in the summer for the recreation department in Peru, where we have 20 or 30 kids come out for a day, for an afternoon, basically. And we do the same thing with them. We bury hundreds of coins, mostly foreign coins. So, but they enjoy digging them up. And a lot of them are repeat kids. And they've come back and told us what they looked up and found out about the coins they found the year before.
Cool.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's great. It's fun thing to do. It's a few hours of our time, and it's well worth it, and the next generation, so educate them a little bit, and they get them hooked on the hobby. So,
yeah, exactly. You never know. Taking that little bit of time with them, you never know who you just inspired to get into the hobby.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Several of these we've done it with Moline middle schoolers, and they were special need there, and a lot of them poor, and they just loved it. And my lab at that time sponsored it up here in the Quad Cities, and
Oh, very nice.
they gave the school 305s and donated several to them. I don't know if they still use them or not. And this is the kind of stuff that we need to get out to people, that not only we do it as our own hobby, but we bring others into it and help them.
Right. Yeah. And things like this help. It goes a long way to helping keep the hobby in a good light.
Right.
Yeah, we've hooked several of the teachers over there now. They're hooked. I got more questions. I mean, one lady talked to me for a half an hour and asked every pertinent question you could think of about metal detecting, and it was awesome. I mean, she's like, "Oh my God, that is great,"
Yep.
So yeah, I said, yeah, it's not just the coins that you find, it's the history that you dig up, and you only learn the history as if you go do some research on it.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I spend more time on the computer than I do digging, and I spend a lot of time with the metal detector in my hand, a lot. So
There's
yeah,
nothing wrong with that, though. And I got to kudos to the young man that was in the wheelchair like that. Some years back, I had a paraplegic on the show that he wanted to get into metal detecting, so he did, and he hunted from a wheelchair and did just
nice.
fine.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I mean, this kid wasn't able to operate the machine. He had severe spasms and tics, I mean, where he couldn't,
Oh,
there's
I
no
can
way
relate
he
with
could have
that.
held
Yeah.
on to it.
Mhm.
He'd have beat either one of us to death or himself to death with it. But, I mean, and he they followed one of the other students around with a detector. And whenever they found something, he got real excited. I mean, it's just good to see,
Yep.
and get him out and get some fresh air instead of sitting
Yeah.
in the classroom.
Yep.
So
And that excitement gets contagious.
it does. It does. Yeah, the group that came out this year, there was a lot of new ones that weren't there last year, a lot of freshmen. And they jumped into it with both feet. I mean, they didn't hesitate to grab a detector and grab somebody to go with them. A
So if
few years they get a little hesitant, and they're a little shy about wanting to go with certain people or whoever, they
uh,
just walked up, grabbed it, grabbed somebody with a detector and said, "Let's go," So
so if you had to guess, about how many years has I been doing this?
I don't know. Yeah, I've only been doing it 2 years and I haven't been in the club that long. So
They were doing it before COVID.
Uh,
And I really, Josh, I will have to ask Bob Chilla. They've always
yeah,
to do some of this. I know that 10 years ago we were working with schools.
yeah, I was going to say, I imagine they've been doing this for some time, but like for you, Dennis, have you noticed, say, the group last year to the group this year? Does it seem to be growing in popularity?
uh, with that class, or those classes that they have, it's not so much the popularity of it, it's how many kids they have enrolled. I mean, that
Okay,
changes all the time. You
right.
have Marcia worked with the school here in town many years ago. She was an assistant for the special needs classes.
Right.
So from year to year, it changed. The enrollment changed. Um, some of the kids wouldn't come back, and they wouldn't for a couple of years, and then they'd come back.
Mhm.
And we still know a lot of them here in town, and when they see her, they just go crazy. I mean, they just love Kurt. So, yeah, it's awesome. I mean, a few of them know me, but they don't care whether I'm around or not. She was the nice one. So,
Right. Right.
but
Ah,
it's all dependent on enrollment for that. So,
Mhm. Good.
well, still, I mean, it's a good thing for the group to do. Definitely.
absolutely. Yeah, like I said, if you ever get the chance to do it, definitely do it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Any
mean,
can help in a manner like that with our hobby and help people get the chance to go. They wouldn't have a chance to go. That's always fun. And it's fun to see
Right.
them light up when they find something. And some of the younger kids, a nail is a find, or
Oh yeah, when they're younger like that, they don't care what they're finding. They're just glad they found it.
yeah, they're doing $half. Yeah, it's a nice find. Well,
oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't care if
It make
it's half a buck's half a buck.
yeah. It made a
exactly.
nice loud sound on the detector, and that got everybody's attention. So, yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. They
Yeah.
get they
I
get
mean,
excited.
can't complain about that at all. I get excited about a $50.
No,
Heck yeah.
I salute
Heck yeah.
everyone for doing this, and the guys when they can get out and do it with the kids, and it needs to be mentioned. It needs to be talked about because it's something that some of these kids would never get out to get to do. Probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
I was telling Dennis before the show that I used to cover, there was a 4-H camp down in Kerrville, Texas, that they would do something with the special needs kids every year. And
Mhm.
we used to cover that years ago. Alan and the gang does it with Camp One Step and the Boy Scouts and things like that. And I've even seen just detectorists across the country band together before with like the Clad for Kids sort of program where they would turn in all their clad that they dug throughout the year, and then that would be used to purchase Christmas gifts for needy families.
Yep. And that's the kind of stuff we got to keep pushing forward, and you actually you don't know how much impact you may have had on one or two of these kids that you're working with because they aren't going to forget it.
Right. Yep. Yep. They're not. Yeah. Like I was telling Josh, that we've had the repeat kids coming back over in Peru,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been, I guess, 6 years now. And some of them have been coming for all 6 years. So and they get a hold of that detector and go. They don't wait for you, So it keeps us old guys moving pretty good. So
That's right. That's right.
yeah,
That touches them and touches the people around them, and they see us as a whole in a better light.
yeah, oh yeah. The school over there, Stephanie, the teacher that's in charge of all this. I wish I could remember her last name, but I'm terrible with names. Yeah, well, she came to our Christmas party. Bob had invited her
Yeah,
to,
I remember.
and her son won the treasure chest.
Yep.
Well, she said that's all he can talk about is that treasure chest, and he wants to come to the next Christmas party. So, we need to get him out detecting.
Yep.
But
Yep. That's at that age, they either really glom onto it, never let go of it, or go,
yeah,
okay, there's just the way it goes. But the faces and the smiles and the fun that the old guys have with them, it's well worth every minute of it. And then I
yeah.
thank you guys for doing that for those kids.
It's that's like thanking me for being a veteran. You don't need to thank me. It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just something that everybody should do. I mean, honestly,
Yep.
if you get the chance, go do it, please.
Yep. And the adults need to watch the kids and relearn happiness from them over things like
Yep. Oh yeah.
That's over things. But that's cool, Dennis. That's cool. That's a day well spent.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Day well spent.
Yep.
But yeah, we've got, what do you have? 10 guys from the club? 15?
There was at least 10. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. And then we had, like I said, almost an equal number of from the Optimus Club.
Good.
And then a few of the teachers and their assistants were out there helping. You know, they stayed kind of out of the way, but they were just keeping an eye on the kids. You know, that's as they should. That's their charges for the day. So, you know, they're all very helpful. Everybody had a good time.
Yep.
Everybody.
And we're getting in the Midwest hunt season here. We only got a little time to DTH and a little over a month and something to swing into summer, and we'll have our fun, and hopefully that maybe it all pays forward and we can help some kids out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, hunting season's on, smoking season's on, outdoor cooking.
Yeah.
Busy.
Outdoor
lawn mowing season. Woof.
Let's not talk about mowing. Come on. That's work.
Right?
Yep. So, but other than that, that's good. So you did find a few wild finds with the kids too, and that always makes it better.
Oh yeah. I mean, they were,
yeah.
You know, they were digging up like I said, dimes and nickels, and you know, some of them were pretty selective with their signals and digging. I mean, it was really good to see.
Cool.
You know, so yeah.
And Dennis had related a story to me before the show, actually before you got on, Chuck, where one of the kids had been out and found a coin that everybody was kind of going, "Did you plant that?" "No, I didn't plant that."
Yeah.
They found it.
Yeah, that was at one of the Peru hunts. Young lady that I was working with, she was waiting for her ride, so she just grabbed the detector and went back out there after the hunt was over. And she stayed in the hunt area where we had buried coins or threw coins out.
Mm-hmm.
And she found a silver Mexican dollar peso.
No,
the big coin. Where that came from, nobody knows.
Well, she was meant to find it.
Yeah. You know, it wasn't in the bag of coins that we got from.
Excellent.
So yeah,
I guess
everybody was flabbergasted that she found that there.
Right. I guess she took to it real well.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I worked with her 2 years in a row. She was pretty good with the detector. She knew the second year she knew exactly what to do right away. Didn't have to give her any instruction. I just followed her around to make sure she didn't have any problems, and she did really good. Yeah.
Yeah, you may be her good luck charm.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know about that.
That could be. That's cool. What else? Have you been out on your own? Did you show up Emery yet?
No, oh God, I don't know if I can show that guy up. I'm gonna have to hog tie him in the car, I think.
There we go. He's on. I saw him in there.
He's a ball of fire, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He's hot with that Manicore.
Yeah. We haven't been out. I haven't been out for a while, other than the kids hunt, and a couple of club hunts last weekend. But yeah, I haven't really found much, so nothing to brag about.
You were with him when he found the bridal rosette, correct?
Yes, I was. Yes.
Man, that had to have been just something else.
I was, he showed it to me, he brought it over and was like, "What is this?" And I'm going, I don't know. I'm not sure. It looks kind of like a bridal rosette, the shape. Right. The wire in the back is a lot longer than what would normally be on a manufactured rosette.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of had me puzzled. I was, I said, maybe, I don't know, I mean, who would know? I mean, there's only one or two people in the world that knew exactly what it was.
Yeah, I mean, granted, at that point, you guys
Yeah.
kind of had an idea, but you didn't realize the full significance.
Yeah.
Oh, good God, no. I don't. If we knew what it was, we'd have both probably fainted right there.
There you go. Are they still coming out to do something on an article, or what's the deal there? I hadn't heard from Emery on that.
I don't know. He'll have to answer that.
I think they're just waiting to get things scheduled, I believe.
Yeah. So,
Which, I mean, had they realized what the full significance of it was, I'd have probably heard them hooting and hollering clear out here in Ohio.
there you go.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
That's one to be proud of. For sure.
That is
My,
fine.
yeah,
And that's a one-off. In other words, probably you're not going to get that one again ever.
Yeah, highly doubtful.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll see him Monday at the meeting, but I don't know. He must have fell asleep because he's not answering you. So.
Yeah, he backed off. He was answering us a little bit. So anyway, yeah,
probably out double checking to make sure it's still in the display.
My precious.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
ORH is asking, what exactly was the rosette for those who have never heard about it? And ORH has never. You want to tell them what was found?
Well, it was a one-of-a-kind, basically, bridal rosette from General Sherman.
Yep.
Yes.
It was the only one known to adorn his horse with that lead rosette. So, and we got one, or Emery got one of them. I don't, maybe the other one's still there somewhere, but.
Yeah. So
yeah, maybe you guys ought to go back and scour that field.
Sherman's horse, it is the rosette. And how do they know that? Sherman's records show that he designed that rosette for the bridle. Uncle Billy's. You got it, Bill.
Right. Only one person would have had that on their horse.
Yep. And that was Uncle Billy. Uncle Billy's rosette, and it was found in the central Illinois area. And then people going, why was it found there? Well, what you got to understand is there were meetings held between Sherman and Grant in Illinois. And in one town of Illinois, there were 9 Civil War generals from that town. That's Galena, Illinois. And they would have meetings in central Illinois, then go their separate way. Well, that church was built that you were hunting, the site, 1850?
Yeah, approximately, yeah.
Approximately 1850, and that church was standing. They were probably using that as a meeting point.
Yep.
Because you guys, I know other military buttons, things like that, cartridge case piece, things like that have been found there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that is amazing.
And I've found some of the old bridal rosettes before, but and don't get me wrong, they're cool to find, but any of them that I've found pale in comparison.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, to have that identified, what it is yeah.
Yeah,
amazing.
When the news came back about that, I don't know how he could have even slept that night.
And he I swear to God, he's still more excited to find an old 8. Not what was there, 13 V nickels in the hole?
Yeah,
19 V nickel.
Yeah. I said,
Yeah,
you don't know what you got, son. You just don't know what you got.
I know what he's got. He's carrying a golden horseshoe somewhere.
Yes, he is.
Well, I think a lot of Clayton has rubbed off on him. So
Get quiet. Yep.
Yeah.
Clayton is an astute hunter.
yes,
And if Clayton says I found something, everybody should listen because he did.
he usually does. Yeah.
He
And
does.
Right.
he's got a little shit-eating grin smile on his face too
Yep.
when he does it,
Yep.
because he's one-upping his dad all the time. So
And
that's
it
great.
seems like he normally doesn't have a whole lot to say.
No, he doesn't. No, he
But
doesn't.
man,
So
when he finds something, he's got plenty to say.
yeah, if he finds something good and he looks up and he's got that little smile on his face, you know it's something really nice.
Oh yeah, yep. He hollers for Kevin, and Kevin's like, "Oh, here we go."
Oh, yeah. And they march Kevin back and forth between the two of them. I think they get about 100 yards apart and just do that.
Right.
They do.
Yeah.
They do.
That guy needs to wear a Fitbit out in the
Oh,
field, because
that's
I'd
good.
love to know how many steps he takes when he's hunting, just running back and forth, getting clips of them two.
Yeah, that's cool. So, and then you throw Frank in the mix, and Frank's over there. He's still digging the same hole he was an hour ago. You look over, and Frank's laying down digging the hole. True story.
Hey, sometimes that's the way it's got to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I took a buddy of mine out to a permission of mine. It's been a few years back now, and it's 40 acres of farm that dates back to the 1880s.
Okay.
Used to have what at the time they would call them premier homes or showcase homes in our area. And we went out there, we were hunting the field, and he was running an A.T. Pro with a Nell Tornado coil. Them things got some great depth anyway. And he tells me, he's like, "Hey, I got a signal." And he's digging, and I'll look over every now and then. "Hey, you need a hand there or anything? You having trouble?" "No, I'm just trying to get to it." A few minutes later, finally, he's like, "I've got it." "Oh? Yeah, it's a barber half." "Good job." And I started to walk away, and he waves the coil over the hole, and he's like, "There's still something else down there." I said, "Well, I wouldn't fill it in. You just got a barber half out of there. It's hard to say what else is down there." And he's digging and digging and digging. And at one point, I swear I looked over there, and he was laying on his belly on the ground, just shoulder deep in this hole. It's like, good Lord, would you order Chinese or something? And finally, he comes walking over to me. He says, "I found it finally." And he hands me this dirt clod. You can see the edge of the coin. And I told him, I said, "Well, it's large cent size, probably." Handed it back, and he pops that clod open. It's a KG2.
Ooh.
And he started to describe it to me, and I told him what the other side of the coin was. And he's like, "Yeah, so I guess you know what this is already." I said, "Yeah, I do." But to see it come up in northwestern Ohio like that, and you've just predated the property by like 100 years,
Easily.
man, you don't know how lucky you are. You just pulled a barber half and a KG2 out of the same hole. Man, he loves him no coil, so.
Oh yeah, they're good coil. It's. I've sat there, and Frank, he found that barber half in one of the fields, and I swear to God, he walks over there. We get out of the trucks, and he will walk a beeline to where he find that barber half, and spend about 20 minutes rechecking that whole spot.
You never know; it could have friends.
Maybe there's another one here.
He's going, we had a hard freeze. Maybe something else is there.
Yeah. Yeah,
and you never know.
Yeah. And he found his seated dime and he can take you right to that his first seated. This was a few years back. It was right here.
Yep. And we can all remember our firsts like that pretty well, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
The first silver dollar I ever found, the first mortgage, it was a 21. I can take you into that town where I found it and walk you right into that yard and stand here. It was right there. But there was that 21, and then there was a $50 with it, and it was a 1946 Iowa commemorative half.
Wow.
I got them both.
Wow.
And yeah, those are the things that get burned into the mind. It's just like catching a particularly large walleye in one area. You go back there hoping for more. Well, I go back to that spot hoping for another barber. And I've hunted that yard in the past quite a few times, hoping for larger coinage. But those are things that I'll bet Barb could probably take you to the spot she found her gold.
Found her gold coin.
Yeah. You know, that's the kind of stuff that just goes. It's cool. It really is. Or finding many other different items. Like I found this weird thing, and it was over there. I don't know what it is, but I still got it.
Yep. And I'm sure Dennis has got a few like that too, where you remember your first silver or whatever.
Right.
Absolutely. My first silver quarter, my first silver half, the silver dollar. I can do the same thing. I can walk you right to it within inches of where I dug it. Yep. Every one of them. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first seeded dime I got, well, my only seeded dime and a half dime were within 50 feet of each other, and I found them 2 years apart. So.
Wow.
Hey,
same.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. You never know. That's why Frank goes back and checks, because I did and I got better.
Oh yeah. Yep.
It's always fun. It's
always fun.
Oh yeah. You never know what you're gonna get, when you're gonna get it. I swear to this one field I've hunted for years. I go back out there, they turn it some anymore, not as much as they used to, but it knocks. I get more stuff. It's just never really hunted out. I wish they'd do a deep plow again, but that's pretty much a done deal.
Yeah, the deep plows, they're few and far between anymore for people.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been told around here a few years ago now. They told me that if they're going to do it, that'll be every 5 to 7 years apart.
Mm-hmm.
In the fields.
Well,
I'm still waiting. So
I got a group that wants to arrowhead hunt, and we got together. I got permission on this site, but talking with the farmer, he says their plow for this year is only 3 to 4 inches.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
this drill planting.
Well, you never know. It could still kick up something.
Oh yeah, flip something.
Maybe,
but it'd be nice to have them do some of the old John Deere plow style.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Need to reblend all that iron. Run it through the blender. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had a coworker come into work.
Need it bad.
Yep. I had a coworker come into work one night and told me that she had a neighbor come down to till up her garden for the year. And she says, I don't know what he was doing. He said he did something about a deep plow. Said it was like 15 inches deep. And then he left and it rained. And I walked out there after the rain and I found this laying on the ground. What do you make of this? And she's holding a large cent in her hand. I'm like, where did you say you lived again? How old is your property? When can I come out and hunt?
Yeah.
Yep.
I found some silver quarters, but nothing terribly old.
Yep. Hey, we'll take silver quarters all day.
Oof.
Yeah. Gotta love them deep plows when they happen. But like Dennis said, I think what it is it's hard for the farmers to justify doing it every year.
Well, it's the expense of it. I mean, they get by with
Yeah.
zero. You get by with zero till and
Yeah.
it would
Yep.
round up, zero till, plant, and they're done. It saves a lot of fuel and wear and tear on the units. And yeah, I don't blame them. That's all. They're running a business.
Mm-hmm.
And they make it pay. And that's the way it is.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Farmers are one of the few businesses that they are the complaint department also, though.
Yeah,
very true.
Because all they do is complain about this and complain about that.
Too wet, dry, too cold, too hot.
Yep.
Boy, it's dusty out there. We need some more rain. Oh, we haven't had rain in a long time. Now we got too much rain.
Too much rain now.
And I grew up on a farm.
Yeah. Yeah. And anymore now said, oh, yeah, never mind. I got insurance. Who cares? Like,
Yep.
Yeah. I know a lot of them like that. And it's like, yeah, I got insurance. Yeah.
Good family. I grew up with friends of mine. All the boys farm. They own a lot of acreage. They've incorporated all that, and they know what they're doing. The kids several of their boys went to school for agronomy, and they're doing all this GPS function stuff and that, and then they brought it up to this level up here. And I asked Robert Burt here a while back, I said, do you do all the GPS yourself? Oh, hell no. I have the kids set the tractor up. I hit the button. We head out. I flip a switch, 2 more buttons, and that thing's planting at a rate it's supposed to be, and it drives itself around the field. I just got to sit there, and it makes me nervous because it always looks like we're going to go through a fence line. And it's amazing.
Yeah.
So they must be like generational farming.
Yeah, they have been. Bert is just a few years younger than me, but his boys, they do all this stuff. They went to college, got involved in it. My wife, Jill, worked for John Deere for a period of time, setting up the GPS driving functions of a tractor.
Oh, wow.
And they taught her how to do it, and she'd get in there and sit down, flip on some music, tune it in, watch the number of seed going out, and it would adjust and come up on a screen saying we put more here, less there, all this kind of stuff, and it would drive itself around the field. She said, but I had it made me nervous too, because you're coming up and you're in this huge 4-wheel drive that fence means nothing.
Yeah. Yep. Going, does this thing know to stop or turn?
Yeah. Right. All this stuff. So farming
it's come a long way.
You got it. That stuff breaks down. The techs have to fly them in from California with a laptop to fix it. Yeah, I know it breaks down ORH. She had those guys out there all the time. She worked a second shift driving those tractors, and they'd be out there download and upload. But it seems to work. They think they get bigger crop with it, or seem to get bigger crop by the count, and doing it that way. It's amazing. If they can do that with those tractors, they ought to come up with a detector that sees into the ground better.
Yeah.
There you go. Send it out. It can see in the ground better. It's 100% target identification, recovers the target, and brings it back to me.
There you go. There you go.
Well, they'll have to change the laws. The FCC have to change the laws, get more power through the coil. Won't they?
Well, that wouldn't be too bad an idea. I'd like to see them. Right. I got in on a few things through Mind Lab a few years back when they sent me out to take commercial units that were non-government built. In other words, they had me looking for landmines. Mm-hmm. And we went out there and did that, and they had a detector mounted on the front of I don't know the model of this big military truck, but this thing reached out and I got a sneak peek in there at what it could do, and it could see, literally draw. This thing only went a mile an hour at best, and it's going down the road. And if there was a mine, so on, this is out in front of it, they'd back away from it, and IEDs, and it caught everything. It was heavily armored, and that's the biggest metal detection unit I've ever seen. But they were incorporating a GPR with detection.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. We need that, it'll draw the length of a nail, really accurate, and that kind of stuff. And I wouldn't be surprised in a few years you'll have something like that.
Right. Yeah. Eventually, it'll probably get there. Whether or not we're around to see it at that point, who knows? But eventually, it'll get there.
But that equipment was amazing to see. And I was standing there with two of the guys from the State Department were there, and they're explaining briefly to me, wouldn't go in great depth about it, what that functioning and what they were trying to do with companies in radio detection setup. And they said the power in that thing was tremendous. The whole front of the truck that was out like 10 feet was a coil.
Wow. That'd be something to see.
In fact, I even snuck a picture of that truck. Yeah. Because I had to go, when they sent me out there, I had to go to the Pentagon, report to a certain office. They had my credentialing and ID and everything. And we went out to, I could say it now, it's been long enough, Fort A.P. Hill, and worked with them for a couple of days. And at the time I had, I was able to take pictures. They had every known landmine in the world on this site. Yugoslavia and Czechoslovakia and Russia and U.S. And what they were looking for, these people were out of the military. They were retired. They were out of State Department, retired. They traveled over to Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam because we dropped these light blue ball. When it hit the ground, it set. And it was motion compression near it. Boom. You didn't have to step on it directly. And it was hundreds of ball bearings. So totally anti-personnel.
Ooh.
And we dropped them. Our Air Force dropped them by the millions over there.
That'll make a mess of things.
And they are still maiming and killing people and children. And they were cleaning them up. And they wanted to see, actually, it was with the CTX 3030. And I could get as many as 5 different ID targets onto that screen and explain what each one fell into in their ground stuff. And I could tell a 50 caliber bullet versus some other stuff. And I was showing them how to do that. But then I found a landmine. They had me walk this strip, and I found that landmine. And the only metal in that landmine was a 22 casing.
Oh.
Wow.
It went over, bang. And it was on a 25-pound block of C4.
Wow.
Well, you want to watch your step there, don't you?
They were showing me what they would do to recover it. I was down with them. I mean, at that time, it was C4, but there was nothing there that would make it go off. It goes off with concussion. And we're just lifting it on the ground, and they did not tell me over the hill was the 155 millimeter range, and they started firing it. That guy was laughing so hard, he said, I've never seen anybody jump 3 feet off their knee. They told me that they were going to start firing over there. They got a big charge out of that.
And now we know why Chuck has gray hair.
Yep. And they had 155 millimeter unexploded shells buried at different depths. I hit 4 of the 5. The 5th one was over 7 foot, and I couldn't pick it up.
Wow.
CTX 3030 stock glow.
That's impressive.
So that was a lot.
Although that is a big shell.
Yeah, out there 2 years to do that. And the thing was they were going into these places because kids were getting killed with leftover landmines. So I always felt good about teaching them. They They used the equipment. They bought the 3030s and reported it was very successful.
Good.
Nice. Always good to hear.
I could still hear that chill. Oh, man. I must have flexed 4 feet.
Right?
Oh, Pelon's in. There you go.
Old Pelon in the house.
Yes, sir. But sometime ask me, Dennis, and I'll show you the pictures of the mines.
Oh, yeah. Next time you get a chance, I will. Definitely. Be interesting. Well, I know the
Yeah.
Manticore would find that 22 casing too, with the several hundred that I found up in Alaska last year.
Well, yeah, it worked. Yeah,
Yeah.
on the roadbed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You get farther down to the corner you got, the more you found.
Yeah, that was their target range down there.
Yeah. Oh,
Well,
there's piles of.
I'll guarantee you somewhere under that, there's gold.
Oh, no doubt, but you got to get through all that brass.
Yeah. You just got to get past the blanket of brass.
Yep.
Yeah, there's literally piles of 44 Magnum, 357 Magnum, 223, 4570, literally piles of them there.
Yep. That's the
Wow.
out there.
Yeah.
It's off that Pomeranke glory hole. When you come around the corner, you got that big deep hole, you got that high cliff, and that's where they shoot.
Yeah. It's like, holy moly,
Yep.
Really sounded like you found something, but then you look down and you realize, nope, you didn't. You just got into the mess.
Nope.
Right.
You go up over the glory hole, and then get up to the hillside, and you start working down to the snowflake claims, and there's gold on that road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll want to do some more of that this year. We worked it up high. I'd like to try some more along that face down there where Frank got lost.
That where you went and lost your tire?
Yes.
Yeah.
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 And you're on the first week, correct, Dennis?
Correct. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
There you go.
Yep. He gets to go back to Seattle and eat Wendy's.
No, not going through Seattle.
Oh.
Not going through. We're going direct from O'Hare straight to Anchorage.
Well, I've got the hop,
Nice.
the Seattle hop, but coming home it's direct, no stop in Seattle, so I got direct overnight.
Are you going up through Seattle or are you going through Portland?
Portland, I think.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
A ticket printouts around here somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Anchorage isn't ready for us. In fact, I got to call them, double check everything on our rooms, and we should be good.
Yeah. I'm ready. I'm getting anxious. I'm ready to go.
I am too. See what we can dig up, man.
I can certainly understand why.
Yeah, and like last year, I'm not going with any expectations. So don't get me wrong. I don't expect to find anything. If I do, great. I'm not gonna.
The means are there to find gold, whether you detect or not.
Yeah, I will get some.
Right.
If you sit and figure a gram's $102.
Right. Yeah. I think we'll do very well this year. If you can keep Alan off at the second week, I'm okay with that. But sorry, Alan, I'm only kidding.
Well, we've got quite the crew coming. It's an eclectic mix, and if I get Richard in on this second week, it'll be fun too.
Oh yeah, that'll be a blast.
And I'll call Betty here. I'll try calling her again, but I know they're busy. They're packing, and I don't mean packing. They are packing a truck onto a barge.
Yeah. How many vans they take up there? Sea vans?
I think it's 5.
5. Ooh. Well, I know they were at Costco buying tons of stuff.
Oh yeah.
They said that was just the first of 3 trips they were making there. So.
Because if he gets lumber to work, if he gets parts for the ATVs or new ATVs, if he gets everything else and all the food, all the it takes those 20 footers. They're 20 foot by 8 by 4, whatever. They're 20. And you'll have 5 of those filled and then offload, and they have to haul them up the hill.
Right.
7, 8 miles.
Wow.
Yeah, I know that one that they showed on Facebook the other day, there was a pretty good hodgepodge of stuff in it. So, including a 4-wheeler or side by side.
Yep.
So, yeah.
That kind of stuff. And then parts and wheels and whatever else for all the rest of them up there.
Yeah. I I definitely need spare tires available. That's for sure.
Yes, you do.
You got to keep all that stuff on hand so you're covered for the season.
Boys that work on them, they're there all summer, and they're 2 grumpy old farts. You know it.
Oh, they're good guys. They're good guys.
I know they are, but they're still grumpy old farts. It's funny. He turns around and says, "You couldn't have drove that back here." No, the wheel busted off the bead and it's flat. What do you understand about it being flat?
Yeah, it was all the way.
Oh, he goes, "Y'all don't need to drive it then." No, I wasn't going to drive it. I just looked at him and shook my head, and I went, "No."
As soon as I seen it go off the bead, I was like, "Yeah, I'm done."
It's done.
So
yeah. Hey,
I don't.
Riding on that. How is it riding on that basket on the?
Oh, not a whole lot of fun. Not a whole.
That can't be comfortable.
And then Kevin, you get down to that big washout down the bottom below the shooting range there, and he goes, "Hold on, I think we can jump it." I was ready to bail off the back of it. But yeah, it was fun. Kevin was a lot of fun to be around.
Yeah,
he's a good roommate.
Yep,
he is a lot of fun to be around.
Look at the size of you 2 guys on that poor ATV. It was squatting.
Hey, what are you trying to say?
A couple big gentlemen, and it's like that thing's like, oh, I don't want to.
Luckily he had the 600 instead of the 300 though.
Yeah. The 300 are really big growing.
Yeah. Yeah, would have been dragging coming down that thing.
Yep. So
anyway, it was I don't recommend the ride.
No, it's rough.
No.
I've had to get a ride back, and then they come pull your rig back, and
they grumble about it.
Oh, they grumble. The old boys just, well, of course I don't help it. I kind of dig a little bit and get it really going.
No.
Oh, got to. It's worth it. It's worth it. Bob Sanders, he's he's the same way.
Right.
But he's a pretty good guy. He and I prospected a lot together. Did pretty good. So
nice.
I'm going to get out of here. Thank you, Dennis. Kudos to the whole group that get them kids out there and this year, and we'll try to get it done next year.
Yeah. Hopefully absolutely. We can go back. Yep. And thanks for having me on and listening to my old tired voice.
Well, that's all right. And to all of you out there, if you get a chance to help some kids out, they never forget it. You may change a life and make it all better for them.
Absolutely.
That's absolutely right.
Get the chance, go work with kids.
Yep.
Always.
Yes. And like we try to tell everybody on this show that has, thank you for your service, Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're very welcome, but that's not necessary. I enjoyed my time. It was a privilege. It was an honor. So
thank you. That's great. Well, anyway, I'll see you all. Thanks for having me on, Josh, Dennis. I'll be talking with you. Richard, if you're still listening in, I hope to call you tomorrow, or Betty calls back tonight, because it's 3 hours difference. It's only 5 o'clock out there. So.
Right. He's trying to get you some good news.
Yeah. Hopefully I can get him up there this year. If not, we'll get him next year. I've already got people asking me for next year. Can you believe it? Man.
Yeah, I can believe it.
Yep. So, hey, thanks for having me. Night all. Thanks, buddy.
Night, Chuck.
And thank you, Dennis. Thanks for taking the time to be on, and good luck with next year's project.
Yep, hope so. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You have a wonderful night, and all the best to Marcia.
Thank you. Tell Tam I said hello, and we'll save her some caramels.
All right. Thank you. We'll see you.
All right. All right. Bye.
Well, so there we have it. The Illinois-Iowa Treasure Hunters Club Special Needs Kids Metal Detecting Project. Special Needs Kids Metal Detecting class. I really wasn't sure how to title it, so we did Special Needs Kids Metal Detecting Project. I think it fits. And it's great when you see clubs like this doing things like I&I's doing, IVHRA, the IMDA or DigFest, Alan John and the gang, even the gang down there at Central Florida Metal Detecting Club. They do a number of things to help different charities as well. It's always a good thing. For me, it's been a busy day, and it sounds like tomorrow's going to be even busier. So, I guess it's probably about that time to roll. So, you can follow us here on YouTube, the Beyond Sight and Sound page on Facebook, Metal Detecting Beyond Sight and Sound Facebook group, all the wonderful podcast distribution services out there. We're all over the place. Join us on one of them, all of them, or none of them. The choice is entirely up to you, but we're glad you joined us here tonight. If you enjoyed the show, hey, it only takes just a second to hit that thumbs up, and we appreciate it. We're out of here, folks. Have a wonderful evening. Get out there and dig it if you can. Post up the photos, or hey, if the weather's good enough, you're out there smoking and grilling, post those photos up too, or send them to me. We always like seeing that stuff. Who doesn't? Have a wonderful night. We're out of here. We sure are glad you found us here tonight. Thanks for dropping by and joining in. If you like metal detecting, treasure hunting, gold prospecting, or even entertaining discussion, check us out Wednesdays and Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern, on your favorite podcast distribution services.